Hey there, guys. Here to do another review for you today. It's Robert Lawrence. Here for what I hope my friend will let me be the other voice of Redneck Reviews, if we get a chance to do this. But anyway, today I'm going to be going over another IDW comic. It's the other Transformers book, Robots in Disguise, number 22. So it's same number as the one I did last time. This one particular book has hit a little bit of it's been a little bit more drama filled for me, because I'm a big old school fan of the Transformers. This one brings together two of my favorite villains, Soundwave and Shockwave. It's a battle of the waves. What happens when two waves see each other? They cancel each other out. That's not what happens here, but it's an awesome thing. First thing you need to know about Robots in Disguise is this is more of what happens on Cybertron after the war is over. More Than Meets the Eye takes place outside of the known space that we had. It's a little bit more of an exploration, and they're able to create more unique characters that way. This one stays a little bit more grounded to the characters that are already there and stuff they've established over the years. All right. Here we go. Start off here. It starts off with one art style, the sort of blocky, metallic sort of side. These are what it does in the flashbacks, and right here it's talking to them when they were both allies and both working for Megatron. They're just talking to each other about how their lives have changed. And what their differences in loyalty are to what causes. Soundwave believes that you should be loyal to who you're following, and Shockwave believes you should be loyal to the logic that you started your ideals off in the first place. Shockwave's all about logic and things like that. Like I said, this is a flashback because these two are basically at each other's throats right now. Because if you haven't read Robots in Disguise, that Megatron did come back from a battle from the war, and tried to retake Cybertron all in one night. And because Shockwave left his post, Megatron lost, and Starscream is now ruling Cybertron. Yeah, people, it finally happened. Starscream finally won. And he's currently in charge of Cybertron at the moment. Well, anyway, like I said, here's the style of the art right here. But one thing you ought to know if you're a big fan of the Transformers in this comic, these characters, these main Decepticons, Soundwave, Megatron, Shockwave, they all had noble intentions when they did this. I know that every villain has their own ideas of why they do things, but these people, when they did this, I have never thought of the Decepticons as ones who started off with a good intentions. I always thought of them more as they were the thugs that followed Megatron. Soundwave in this one really showed me that he wasn't. He was following a course of loyalty, which is what his big thing is in the comics. Well, anyway, like I said, it starts off with one style of art with the blocky sort of more digitized art, which they can correct with things, and then it goes back to the old, beautiful hand-drawn stuff. And you see, Soundwave being the snot-ass Shockwave, and tables are getting ready to turn. They fire. Soundwave releases all of his cassettes, the little Transformers that sustain in him, and he's just bringing it to Shockwave, who is probably one of the baddest Transformers of them all. And and there's more flashbacks in between. You understand this, bro? Shows Soundwave with one person in the Decepticons he really has ever made a real connection with, which was their leader, Megatron. And we find out a little bit more about Megatron in this, as well as when he started to come to power, why he became the ultimate sort of evil for this planet. Like I said, even he had his own reasons for doing this. He wanted people to, he wanted all people to be equal, and in his mind, he still believed that. Like I said too, Soundwave wanted to be loyal to that idea. That idea of, this is a person who believes in these things and he's willing to do something about it. Just like, George Washington or Benjamin Franklin, who believed that everyone was created equal, or Abraham Lincoln went with a house divided can't stand, and stuff like that. This is the idea I'd gotten from this Transformers story. Well, anyway, back to getting through the rest of the story. They've created something in this one area where none of them can die. So them fighting like this doesn't do anything. You see here, Shockwave kills Ravage, the Black Panther cassette, and that he comes back to life 5 minutes later after he's done spilled like all of his guts and everything on the floor. And they keep fighting or whatnot, and they're like, well, why are we fighting? I mean, there's no way we can hurt each other. And apparently in this one issue here, we find out that Soundwave and Shockwave knew at one point that, in these flashbacks, that they were going to have to kill each other at some point. That Soundwave sort of figured, based on the logic that Shockwave has, that he was going to have to put him down one day because it was going to interfere with what Megatron decided. He knew from the beginning that Megatron was going to be under threat by this guy, and he's betrayed him multiple times to the series. Not exactly what was in the TV show, but we read it for different stories. We don't read for what was in the TV show. Again, it changes back to the other style of art. I'm actually okay with it. I mean, it separates and you know what you're looking at. And they're both great things of art. I love it. This one is one where we understand why Megatron chose Soundwave, because he was loyal to him and his cause. He believed that that the corruption in Cybertron was worse than them fighting out for it. At least the fighting was honest in Megatron's eyes. And Soundwave grew to believe that. He believed in equality. He says, you want all Cybertronians to be equal. And, the difference between these two is Shockwave brings up the point that, you're emotional. You're doing this out of some idea of loyalty, not because you think it's right, only because you think that you can't do wrong. And we find out, and this is like a prelude to the next story, that why this thing's that Shockwave is creating this idea of regeneration for, I guess, to regenerate the planet. And Cybertron's basically dead. It has no more power systems or anything like that. And we find out in this one that he's regenerating a giant Titano, which is a city-sized transformer, which is just awesome. I mean, it's awesome for the story, but it's going to be bad for the next wave of Autobots, because these things are beyond huge. I mean, 1 foot could take out Roanoke, probably. We find out, too, why what Soundwave does after they've done this fighting, and it's so repetitive, he goes back to the Decepticons, what's left of them, and he tells them, we're not going to be the villains anymore. We're going to be the ones that save Cybertron. What they mean by that, we still haven't figured out. I mean, they're the Decepticons. I like the story of Soundwave, and it even shows us what Soundwave looked like before the war in this picture, and how he met the first wave of cassettes. And why he's so protective of them. I mean, they're like family, and they hold him in his body. I liked it. It was pretty cool. I mean, the whole story was identifying two villains that I thought were sort of unredeemable. Well, not unredeemable, but they were just always going to be villains in my eyes. I give the entire comic I give it a 5 and a 5. The story was interesting. The only thing that The only problem is you have to know your history on it. That's the only problem with the issue. And I'm not going to take a point away from that. The story was good. The art is awesome. It's always the same quality. This one, even the change in arts through the whole thing was only 2 different things of arts, which is great because you know that they took care and they integrated so well into the story. So that's the Redneck review for Transformers: Robots in the Skies, guys. 5 and a 5, so I gave it a really good review. Check it out. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.